Real football factories. From what I understand, this series is about gangs in football or like the ultras in football in certain countries. I remember this series popping up where I lived on like the channel called The Score when I was younger. I just remember a Polish episode and just a bunch of swearing in it. Never really watched much else of the series, but always intrigued me to this day. So it'd be interesting to watch this.
And this is the real football factories. International. This week I'm in a country that straddles two continents. It's a crossroads between East and West, between the old and the new. It's famous for its bazaars, hubbly-bubbly pipes and kebabs. It has a growing football reputation on the pitch.
Old school for Fenerbahce, galatasaray.
I'm talking about Turkey. This is a country whose culture is so strongly based on honour that people are prepared to kill to defend it.
Two guys can fight over anything, and sometimes, knives start talking.
Did this guy just say knives start talking? What? Oh my gosh! Can I even?
Turkey's the gateway to the Middle East. It's separated by the Bosphorus Straits, with half the country in Europe and the rest in Asia. Now we're in one of the hotbeds of world football. The supporters are fanatical. When that passion boils over, the results can be deadly. Welcome to hell.
I'd been hearing a lot about Turkey's fanatical supporters. Now I was in Istanbul. I wanted to find out more about this country and why they had such a reputation for violence.
80% of the Turkish public is living below the poverty line. And when there's poverty, violence occurs.
The violence is also mixed with a widespread knife culture in Turkey.
There's really a knife culture, and it's because it's the easily available weapon, and a lot of young people carry knives around.
It looks both east and west for its culture.
Oh, McDonald's, let's go.
Islam is important, but football is the real religion in Turkey. When it comes to the beautiful game, it's all about raw passion. Fenerbahce and Galatasaray are the two biggest teams in Turkey. Both clubs are based in Istanbul, but football divides this city. The Bosphorus Straits separates these teams, with Galatasaray on the European side and Fenerbahce based on the Asian side of the city.
I didn't know that. I didn't know Galatasaray and Fenerbahce were based on different sides, based on the Europe and Asian side.
Based around the Taksim Square district. Their team was built out of the elite high school. Think of it as the club started by toffs from Eton. Fenerbahce, on the other hand, see themselves as the people's club. In the First World War, their forefathers ran guns for fighters against us, the British. Whereas Galatasaray used to be the wealthier club because of their European success, poor investment has led to near bankruptcy. New money at Fenerbahce means they have now become the richer of the two clubs.
How the tables have shifted there.
So I'm at Fenerbahce Stadium. I'm here to meet Paul Okan. Now, he made a film about Fenerbahce. His old man used to play for him, yeah? Not only that, his old man played against Bobby Moore. You having that? That's pretty special.
That's pretty cool.
When I was told about this job, Turkey was the one that I was most worried about. I don't know why. A lot of stigma attached to it. Maybe it's got something to do with the Leeds fans that got stamped. I don't know. Let's go and find out, see what he's got to say.
I mean, yeah, you have to give credit. If you're talking about the host, you gotta give credit to this guy for going to all of these places. I mean, he's gotta have some sort of security with him, you would imagine.
Paul spent a year filming with the Fenerbahce supporters when they won the Turkish Championship in 2005, so he understands the passion of these fans.
Paul, thank you for talking to me. I appreciate this.
No problem.
First of all, could you just tell me about football culture in Turkey?
Well, football is more than a culture in Turkey. It's life itself. Because life is pretty tough in Turkey. People work hard, they don't make enough money, they don't feel in control. But when they go to the stadium, it's their own turf, and they can actually affect the outcome.
What do you think it's going to be like for me on match day? Is it going to be a big experience for me? I mean, I'm quite excited about it. I know there's not many derbies that match this.
You never know what's going to happen because a lot will depend on the results. If Fenerbahce starts losing, then violence can break out no matter what. Like last year when Galatasaray came to the Fenerbahce area, they came with knives. Some of them came with knives, and then one guy came with a gun. And he was caught by the fans and almost beaten to death.
The firms call themselves fanatical supporter groups. They do not have organised fights like UK hooligans. I was going to be at the derby with the firm called KFY. I thought I'd better ask Paul if he knew anything about them.
This is basically a group called Kill For You. They have violent passion, which can turn into violence.
My God. And this guy is gonna go with them. Oh my gosh.
One place when I was told about this show that I was a bit worried about. Now, probably because of the two Brits that were stabbed. Is it fair?
Bro, this guy looks so stressed now. Like, this guy's like, oh, what have I gotten myself into?
Is that a fair thing for me to say, that, you know, because of that the Brits maybe feel that there's this rivalry between Turkey and England?
What happened was, you know, when the British moon each other, that was considered as a huge insult.
Okay.
And the fans actually went there and stabbed them.
Bro, if a man just wants to show some ass, I don't think that warrants getting killed.
I'm on my way to meet them, to see if they'll tell me more about the rivalry and the way things are done in Turkey. Two of their firm have
I
agreed
respect
to
you
meet
starting
at a
with Turkey.
secret
I mean, this is the
location.
first episode. I mean, this guy kind of looks like Antonio Cassano. This guy's kind of going for the Diego Maradona hair. I mean, kind of. But kind of looks like a mob boss at the same time if he shopped at Winners.
These guys are part of a highly organised and closed group.
Telefonumu kapıyorum.
Don't be fooled by the clean-cut look and suit. This firm have a brutal passion that's right up there. This is the first time that any of these guys have spoken to the media. We began by talking about their enemies, Galatasaray.
Of course, we hate Galatasaray. But I'm gonna talk personally. My love for Fenerbahce is much stronger than my hate for Galatasaray. Biggest derbies in the world, my opinion, and they're our biggest rival. Well, 10 years ago, I had friends from my university, and we were, you know, good friends. They were Galatasaray fans, and I could see them perfectly because they would split the stadium into two halves, and I could just see them perfectly, my friends, and I lit a, you know, one of those flares, and I threw it exactly on my friends, you know. I could have burnt them, they could have lost an eye. I didn't think about it at the time. So during those times, there's no oxygen, you know,
Oh my
going into your brain.
gosh. Man couldn't care if it was his mother in that.
But some of the past battles between these rivals have been like all-out war.
From night to morning, you can fight with Galatasaray fan, also police. And many people injured, maybe died.
Their biggest battles have been with Galatasaray, but they often fight against the police.
This season, two big fight in our area. The police used the gas and the jaw.
Pepper spray. If you're gonna go
Please
to
have an
away
easy
game,
job there.
then
The police,
yeah, 90% you might get a stick or pepper spray. We are very used to pepper spray now. Yeah. It's like breath mint now.
Breath mints.
Police, I feel bad.
Well, I have some injuries. Of course, you know, stones on the head. It's always a nice story here in Turkish terraces. In 2001, you know, against Samsunspor, it was our championship game. And
I was expecting like small stones type things, which would hurt. Couldn't I kill someone? Those were huge.
one of them pulled up the sink, you know, the big china. And it broke on my head and I had to have stitches. But so many people were injured from both sides. No more needles left to stitch you up. So I had to watch the game like that, you know, with my head half open. We watched the game, we became the champions, and I came back to Istanbul like that. I had stitches, and then I went back celebrating.
This guy has just,
Volkan was injured when he tried to confront the ex-Liverpool
let's just say I am like the complete opposite of this man.
Ram Sunes, who used to be the manager of Galatasaray.
in 1996, the Tsunus came our stadium and to
He planted the flag.
flag.
Sunes had been
This is a
insulted by
legendary moment.
Fenerbahce. So when Galatasaray beat Fenerbahce, Sunes planted the Galatasaray flag in the centre of the pitch, which enraged the Fenerbahce fans.
That's legendary.
I tried to run the flag, but suddenly the big police dog hit me.
Yeah, he beat you.
Then after beat me, I shouted I was angry. The police and the 10 police came and shot me by Joe.
Gosh.
Souness misjudged the passion of the fans and actually endangered his life.
It was a very stupid thing to do. What was he thinking, really? You know, and he really had to run for his life.
And
believe
without
me.
Souness,
Bro, that is insane. Graham Souness, nowadays known as the man who criticized Paul Pogba relentlessly, no matter what he does. Back then, the man risked his life just to put a flag in the center of the field.
we want to see him anywhere,
Yeah.
especially in Fenerbahçe.
Definitely, I want to see him again too.
Souness left Galatasaray that season, but Fenerbahçe fans wanted revenge for the flag planting incident.
I mean, I'd probably leave a night of. I would send a mail to my boss at Galatasaray saying, yo, I'm done here. I don't want to get killed. I like living. Living is nice. I'll go back to England. I'll go chill. I'll go criticize Paul Pogba in 10 years. They ask, who's Paul Pogba? Don't worry about it.
2 years later or 4 years later, one guy is a crazy guy in Fenerbahçe, guys. We say Rambo.
His nickname is Rambo.
This guy gets a chant?
He's crazy. Definitely crazy. He's a report from the doctor.
Yeah.
Allah belamı versin inşallah. Allah haricinde kimse gelse tutamaz beni.
Rambo is a hero to the Fenerbahçe
Looks
fans.
kind of nutty to be
Like
honest.
them, he found Souness's actions hard to take. So on the eve of their opening game of the season, he broke into Galatasaray's stadium.
İstifa! İstifa!
He hid in the advertising hoardings armed with a Fenerbahçe flag and a large kebab knife.
And the moment it was kickoff time, he cuts it open with his knife. He runs towards the stadium. And it was the opening game of Galatasaray, so it was 25,000 fans. He scares off the Galatasaray players with a knife. He plants the flag. And he didn't let anybody come near the flag because he had a knife.
Rambo shows how the Turkish passion for football can be all-consuming.
Ona göre sesleniyorum yani tüm Fenerbahçe düşman olan kişiler sesleniyorum akıllarına başlarına devşirsinler. Akıllı olsunlar mermi manyağı yaparım başka da bir şey yapmam yani. Alamın Kral Fenerbahçe.
You don't want to mix some of the most passionate fans in world football with knives. It's not a good idea.
Well, knife culture is in the Turkish culture. It doesn't have to be in football. Two guys can fight over anything, and sometimes, you know, knives start talking.
I don't know, he looks really dead in the soul there when he said that.
Most British teams and fans get a hostile reception when they come to Turkey. There's been a bit of history between us. The troubles go back to 1993 when Man United played Galatasaray. Over 170 English fans were arrested and deported before the game even started. Trouble flared on the pitch after Cantona lashed out at a Turkish player. This is the Chelsea team welcome when they came to play Galatasaray in 1999.
This square represents two faces of Turkish football. First, the growing reputation of Turkish football standards, but also the increasing violent reputation of the fans. It was also here. Two Leeds fans were stabbed to death in 2000.
Christopher Loftus and Kevin Spate met their deaths here outside McDonald's. The two men were innocent fans, not hooligans. They just had the terrible misfortune to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. The planned match still went ahead amid high tension and maximum security. Leeds accused the Turks of showing a lack of respect. There was no official 1 minute silence for the victims. The Leeds supporters and players held their own. However, a brief message of condolence was read out by Galatasaray, condemning acts of violence and offering their sympathies. Leeds fans boarded waiting coaches as soon as the match was over, and both sets of supporters taunted each other. Turkey is a very nationalistic country where the culture is based on pride and honour. If you insult people, they reply tenfold. While some Turks thought that provocation was no excuse for the killing of the Leeds fans, many of the public thought they got what they deserved.
And this guy's so stressed
It's
out.
really disappointing for me to say that when those stabbings happened, all the Leeds players, not everyone was filled with sorrow and disappointment. I remember headlines as if to say, you know, you deserved it.
Jeez.
Ali Umit Demir was convicted for killing both Leeds fans. He was sentenced to 15 years in prison. His conviction was quashed.
Bro got 15 years for killing 2 people? That's it?
Conviction was quashed on appeal. However, new evidence has come to light, and a retrial has been ordered, which is currently ongoing, with a hearing scheduled for May 2007.
Leeds fans killer freed in Turkey 10 years after match. Like, gee, that is nuts.
I'll be walking into this feud when I come face to face with the Galatasaray firm. They're infamous for making their stadium like hell for opposing teams. Now I've got to go to their manor to see if they'll talk to me. I'm a bit wary of this one because of the hatred between Galatasaray and English fans.
Bro, this guy's a hard man, holy.
I'm now outside Galatasaray Stadium. Here they are. They're all wrapped round me. I feel a bit didgy, a bit nervous. I'm meeting a fella called Alpaslan. He's probably the top boy at Galatasaray.
It's insane.
I've been told I've got to wait somewhere. He's going to come and meet me, which isn't usually how we do this.
Bro, is this guy like the mob boss of Galatasaray supporters?
Thank you. Looks like a bit of a lump, this geezer, I must say. More of the boys started to arrive, and things were getting lively. Then they said they wanted to take me around the back streets to where more of the firm were waiting.
Oh my gosh. Oh, they're just chanting right now. Guys.
I asked Alpaslan if he thought it would kick off at the match today.
Ama buna engel olmaya çalışanlar olursa da elbette ki biz orada daha güçlü olacağımızı düşünüyorum. Çünkü buradan giden 2500 kişi tam bir asker.
Galatasaray only got about 2,000 tickets for today's match, but people have come miles to be at this crucial game.
Çeşitli şehirlerden gelen arkadaşlarımız var. İngiltere'den gelen arkadaşlarımız var. Gördünüz işte biraz önce.
The Ultraslan brand has become so successful, they've sold more tops than the club has sold team shirts.
Did I hear that right?
The football club are 150 million in debt. In 2003, Galatasaray fans donated £3 million to the club, and they gave them the Ultraslan trademark. By doing this, the hooligans saved the club from bankruptcy.
Ultraslan ürünleri satıldı ve milyonlarca dolar para kazandı kulübümüz.
Where's Besiktas in all of this? Just watching everything from the side, popcorn in hand. I'm sure they have some wild fans too. Like, that wouldn't be surprising. But in the grand scope of Turkey footballing fans, it's not surprising that Galatasaray and Fenerbahce are the 2 big ones.
So I felt I should ask Alpaslan what had triggered the Leeds incident.
Bir terbiyesizlik yaptılar. Bayrağımıza hakaret ettiler.
It said they not only moonied, but they also wiped their backsides on the flag. In this highly nationalist country, the flag is seen as sacred. Although neither of the victims were involved in this incident, this was the main reason given for the attacks that led to their deaths.
Bunlara müdahale ediyorlar ve maalesef bu facia meydana geliyor. Olmasını hiç istemezdik. Çok üzüldük ama oldu. Yapacak da bir şey yok artık.
Not sure what to think about that.
Eller havaya, eller havaya.
Alpaslan and his top men had to leave. I was about to chat to some of the guys who had come from England, but things were about to turn nasty.
We love Galatasaray. We do anything there.
While most of the Galatasaray firm had been welcoming, some were not happy that we were there. We were deep in their territory without Alpaslan and his boys for protection. We had outstayed our welcome, and it was time to leave.
So look, we've got to get away from this plot now. We're now on the European side of Turkey. We've got to get over the other side to Fenerbahce, you know what I mean? It's a proper mission. The old bill have turned up. It's all getting a bit digi. People throwing things at us and all that, you know what I mean?
Lucky we got out of there when we did. Minutes after we left, an off-duty copper was attacked by Galatasaray fans and stabbed in the leg. His crime? Wearing a Fenerbahce shirt. This is why it's so dangerous to get caught on the wrong side of the city.
What?
Now we went.
This is tribalism to the extreme. Stab someone because he's wearing a shirt you don't like? Oh my gosh.
We're heading over to the Fenerbahce side to see what was waiting for us there.
Turkey's nuts.
We're heading off to Fenerbahce Stadium, where we'll be watching the match with Fenerbahce's firm.
I think there's stuff like you'd love to see fans being passionate and showing a lot of pride in their club like this. Like, them like Just flares up, flags showing, waving everywhere.
Couple of hours till kick-off, and I tell you what, the atmosphere's electric, honestly. You know, I feel there's a more party atmosphere with Fenerbahce. I mean, Galatasaray, and I don't want to be one-sided in any of these shows, but, you know, Galatasaray, for me, a bit more aggression. I'm glad that the game's at Fenerbahce. Galatasaray, I was on knife's edge.
Galatasaray's definitely have been painted a lot worse out of this compared to Fenerbahce. Now, I don't know how things actually are, but I mean, this guy's English, of course. English fans have been killed going there. They've had some bad experiences in the 90s. Fenerbahce, you don't hear too many bad things, I guess, with the English. But yeah, that's just, it's crazy that he was in the Galatasaray area. And literally there's a guy who threw a bottle at them, just standing there. And then apparently a police officer got undercover, got stabbed 6 minutes later or something. Like, that's insane. Where I live, you definitely don't imagine anything like this, even with the most passionate sport. Benny, England used to be bad with hooliganism. They really put a stamp on it significantly in like the late 80s, early 90s, or mid 90s maybe. Nowadays it's a lot better. But yeah, back in like the 80s, 70s, it was really bad in England.
There was a party atmosphere to begin with, but the tension was rising as more Galatasaray turned up in cabs. These held back the Fenerbahce fans, who were now on a bridge chanting down at the Galatasaray fans.
Well, I'm going to slip off, go and meet a few of the boys in their bar. You know, they're going to look after me, they're going to take me in the ground. You know, I need someone to look after me here because it's such a mad derby, this. You know, of all the derbies I've been to, this one is, like, intense, let me tell you now. So, let's have it.
Yeah, you need some beers, man. You're so stressed, and that's so understandable.
The Fenerbahce Kill For You firm were plotted up in a bar just around the corner from the stadium. I wasn't sure what kind of reception I was going to get, or even if they would trust me to come to the game with them.
What we got here? Yeah, sweet as. Thank you. Thank you.
I guess this means they accepted me.
Sweet as, thank you so much.
And they topped off my welcome with a few drinks.
Imagine if he was wearing that by the Galatasaray fans earlier. This guy would be not in a good place.
She's one of the top birds.
After a few drinks, my mind turned to the game.
Security here is very, very high. All the coins you've got to take out your pocket. I've even had to leave my house keys. House keys? You know, because they will throw anything at these games.
I could feel the intensity of the crowd as I approached the stadium.
The feeling, I'm not even in the crowd yet. It's amazing.
Sounds loud from here.
I've got to say, my hairs are standing up on the back of my neck.
You'd be shitting yourself. Safe.
We finally get into the stadium, but I'm having trouble finding my seat. The Galatasaray fans are in the section next to us. They're covered by netting to protect them from objects being thrown by the Fenerbahce firm, but it does not stop the taunts from Kill For You raining down on them.
Let's compare this to my local derby here. You can see a great crowd right here, just as passionate as Fenerbahce and Galatasaray.
Volkan is one of the top boys of Kill For You, so he organises the unveiling of the main banner in our section. This is an age-old tradition in Turkey, which involves the whole stand, including me.
I'm in a tent. I'm on the sun bad. So happy, man, you won't believe it.
This is amazing, and the game hasn't even started yet. Things are really hotting up with minutes to go before the game, and there is no respite for the Galatasaray fans. The game gets underway, and it feels like the stadium is shaking. Things go from crazy to mayhem when Fenerbahce score an early goal.
Oh my gosh. It's so tight there.
Every time Galatasaray get the ball, The Fenerbahce fans whistle to intimidate them. The
Oh, they actually bring
Galatasaray
whistles.
fans
I didn't know
respond
that.
by ripping up seats.
Oh my
Then
days.
Fenerbahce extend their lead. The guy in front of me literally surfs the crowd.
This is hilarious.
The goal sparks more violence from the Galatasaray fans, and at half-time, they clash with the police.
A lot of property damage.
The second half begins. Fenerbahce supporters can't get to Galatasaray, who are ripping up their stadium. So some of the fans behind the goal begin to pelt the Galatasaray keeper.
Oh my gosh.
Five things in the keeper. Not keys, coins, fireworks. No, they might jeopardise the game. There's no need. They're 2-0 up.
Galatasaray get a goal back in the second half, but Fenerbahce managed to win the game 2-1. Police push Fenerbahce supporters away from the Galatasaray section. They managed to keep both sets of fans apart.
Shadow
Kill
police.
for you chant their last
The
songs
job.
at Galatasaray. For another 10 minutes before we leave the stadium.
Now, I don't know whether it's just me or every game I go seems to get more and more intense, and there's no word of a lie. That one is just like I've never.
We started at a high bar here with our viewing of this.
Every time the opposition gets the ball, there's this whistle. There's this loud whistle. You look around, not men. There's kids. There's women. I mean, it's intense. It's like, you know, if there ever was a 12th man, this is the country.
Like, how much more crazy can it get?
It's the morning after going to the biggest derby in Turkey. It's one of the maddest games I've ever experienced. I've now had a taste of the passion of Turkish football. People have told me things are similar all over the country, even in the lower leagues.
Really? I mean, that's not the most surprising thing, actually.
They told me about a place called Izmir. This westernised port city is better known for its holiday resorts, but it's also home to two lower league sides who are fierce rivals, Karşıyaka on one side and Göztepe on the other. Göztepe's firm is called Yali. This is them preparing to travel to an away game against Aliaga Belediyespor.
The police come with us. They're really scared or it's really dangerous. They worry about us, yeah.
Although Göztepe are playing another team, they'll have to travel through Karşıyaka to get to the ground.
That's wild. They're just driving through and they're just making those chants.
The surrounding roads are closed, and the Göztepe bus is flanked by an armoured police vehicle. This young firm are considered to be such a threat that the 4 coaches of fans are escorted by 4 coachloads of police and an armoured car.
My.
And when they get to the game, you can see why. Could you imagine away support like this? For Accrington Stanley.
For Accrington Stanley.
They are losing 3-1 and things get heated when one of the opposing players taunts the Göztepe fans after his team score again.
They're trying to take the fence down.
The police are quick to pull out the pepper spray.
I mean, it's just breath mint for them, no? Okay, no, maybe not for that guy.
The game is lost and the firm are ready to leave. The trouble is diffused and the police are waiting to escort them home. The relationship with the firms and the teams is more direct in the lower leagues. Respect and power is everything. Göztepe's main rivals are Karşıyaka. This is their firm, called Shasha. The last time Karşıyaka and Göztepe clashed, it was pure hate.
It's like Bloody Sunday.
One man was stabbed to death, another 50 were injured.
Everybody drinks, get their knives, and if you see yellow and red, you attack them.
Bro, Ronald McDonald's ain't safe in these streets.
They protect us from the cops, they protect us from the opposite team. It's not about a respect to your mother or your father. I don't listen my mom or dad, but I listen my leaders.
The firm's respect extends onto the pitch. One of the firm's leaders brings the team over to applaud the fans. When you see this loyalty and the power it gives people in their lives, you can see how hard it is to stop them.
They are giving us power, you know? It's like a great general in a war.
I've come to the end of my journey, and I've seen the two sides of Turkish football culture. I've experienced the hospitality of the firms, and I've seen the fierce, intense passion that can end in death. If you come to Turkey, it's best to know their customs. Like us, the Turkish are extremely proud of their country and their football, which they would defend to the last.
There are maybe 3 people that, if they say stop, will stop. Nor police, nor army could stop us, but they can stop, you know? That's the difference.
And he went back.
I realised that it will be very difficult to get rid of the violence because you can't take the passion.
We're watching this show here, but on the top right it says, next, football's gone soft. Is that the next show we watch? David Badell takes a nostalgic look back at football from the 70s and 80s, how it compares to more recent football.
The most important one thing in our lives.
I mean, that was really good. I think we peaked too early with this show. That's a hard to follow up for any of these countries. Argentina, there's River played Boca Juniors. That's interesting. That was really good. That was insane. I'm not gonna lie.
We are very used to paper spray now. It's like breath mint now.